We are back live, the #1 intellectual property show on YouTube. And I am the host of that show, Dave, a 10-year intellectual property attorney who's been dealing with everything from, you see the shirts, patent, copyright, trademark, as well as trade secrets. Hey, look it. I'm excited to get back to you guys today and have a live show. We have a lot to cover. I'm trying to think, man, I need some theme music. I have to kind of work on getting me some theme music going forward here. But we have a lot to cover here. What Donald Trump is in the news, not just for terrorists, but he kind of maybe is looking at a copyright lawsuit. The judge has made a final ruling on that. So we'll kind of take a look at that. The church, the pastor for the church that was vandalized by the Proud Boys, he finally speaks out, the pastor, about being essentially getting that law, getting the trademark of Proud Boys as part of a judgment because the Proud Boys didn't pay their I think $2 million judgment that the church was awarded, kind of based on the vandalism and the things that the Proud Boys engaged in. We'll be talking about the Shark Tank, the Shark Tank pitch of the week that I kind of think was the best one. So we'll be talking about that a little bit. We'll be talking about CrossFit. Again, we all know CrossFit, the kind of the workout routine. It seems like they were active this past week from a lawsuit perspective. They sued not one, but two gyms for trademark infringement. So we got a lot to get to today. But first, before we kind of get off into things, I have some good news for you guys, man. Mama, we made it. This is an article. Let me kind of pull it up here. We're not going to go through it in detail, but from the New York Post. Your boy was featured in a New York Post. Well, I wasn't technically featured, but my patent was. So Ford, this is a New York Post article. We're not going to go through it. We're just going to talk about the title here. Ford files a patent to bring old school stick shifts to electric vehicles. But then, it says the Gen Z drivers don't know how to use it. So your boy actually filed that patent for Ford Motor Company on the electric stiff shifter. So it was cool to get a chance to kind of see that. Hey, look, man, this past week was pretty cool. Your boy birthday was this week. I saw that one of my patents that I filed was in the New York Post. I actually have something to talk about. Your boy just got his Snap Slide. And I'll talk about this here in a little bit. Your boy got some product from Snap Slide, one of my clients. But again, this was an exciting moment for me. The fact that I saw the New York Post talked about a patent that I wrote essentially maybe a year or so ago. It's in prosecution. Things are looking a little good. So I think we're going to be able to get a patent for Ford Motor Company on that. And that was cool that I did want to share with you guys just because, like I said, I actually filed that patent. Another thing that I did want to talk about is Snap Slide. Now this is hopefully you guys can see this. Let me see if I can put it so this is a pill bottle. And this is actually my client. I actually interviewed Rocky Batesu, the founder, the CEO of Snap Slide. This was about a year ago on my podcast. And Rocky hit me up like 2-3 weeks ago. Like, hey, man, we about to file some more patents. Can you help us out? And I'm like, hey, I'm your guy. So I'm filing some more patents for Rocky and Snap Slide. But this essentially is a pill bottle now. This pill bottle, take obviously pills. And if you from the African-American delegation, we know for putting other contents in this. You may see some grease in there and other contents, but this is something, it's called Snap Slide. And with the traditional, this is a Tylenol bottle. Typically with Tylenol bottle or just kind of traditional bottles, you have to, you have to kind of push and then turn. Or in the case of this bottle, you have to kind of push this thing and then kind of turn a knob. In other words, you need two hands to do this. Whereas this Snap Slide, hey, look, I can be holding a bottle of Topo Chico in one hand and I can open this. You see it's currently not open, but I can, and then slide it. Next thing you know, the bottle is open. It only takes one hand, so it's great for, if you're disabled or you have some other disability going on where you only have one hand to be able to kind of do things with. This is a cool bottle for that. So you will see these a lot more in pharmacies and convenience stores near you here soon as they're kind of ramping up different product lines. So the fact that I just got that in the mail today from Rocky and the team over at Snap Slide, I was excited to share that with you. Like I said, Rocky entrusted me to help them kind of protect kind of different features of kind of this bottle and file a lot of patent applications. So that's what we're doing. So I did kind of want to bring that to you guys. So shout out to your boy Rocky and the team over there at Snap Slide for that. But let's kind of move on here and talk about the interview of the week. We're going to play a little bit of that interview if I can bring it up here. Let's see here. And actually, funny enough, Dory just kind of hit me up. Let me see here. Dory just kind of reached out to me on IG here a little bit ago. Let's kind of I'm gonna play just the intro of this interview, and then I'll come back and kind of let you know, give you my thoughts on this interview with Dory and Clean Peepers. Let's go.
And not
Let me make sure that this is okay. Yeah, sometimes I listen to these videos on 2x speed, but this is normal. Let's go.
just for my family, for the Black community, for
What's going
women.
on here?
It was going to be very important for folks to not just know it was me, but
Yeah.
to know people who look like me, that when you have something that's out there, let the world know and let the history know, right? Our history is trying to be changed and erased in a lot of different ways. And I was like, no, this is important. I need to put in the work, and people need to know who created this, and it needs, because it'll hopefully outlive me long, long after I'm gone.
Well, that was Dory with Clean Peepers. Shouts out to Dory. She actually just hit me up. So Clean Peepers, just kind of give you an idea. It's a eyeglass cleaner. So it cleans your eyeglasses. I wish I had. I'm not going to pull up, try to look at her website, but it's an eyeglass cleaner. So again, fortunately, I don't have to wear eyeglasses. I've never had to wear glasses. But again, I guess to the extent that I have some shades, which I do have, I can use it for that. But it's an eyeglass cleaner's actual product, and she, invented it herself, and she came out with it. So I did an interview. That interview just dropped on Wednesday, so go check it out. Dory, she is amazing. And she actually just hit me up actually earlier this morning. She wants me to help her with some trademark filings for the product. So I'm kind of excited to work with Dory here going forward. But again, I just wanted to play that video, kind of give you my thoughts on, hey, if you have a product, make sure you are protecting that product. I actually just finished a couple books. One is an ebook that I'll be coming out with over the next, I would say, month or so, and it's called God IP, the Practical Solutions to Protecting and Monetizing Your Intellectual Property in America. Hey, America is the largest market in the world. Everybody overseas wants to file or wants to kind of sell products in America because they know it's the biggest market. And it's time for us, as not only Americans or kind of U.S. citizens, whatever you want to call it, to get in the game to the extent that we're not. Against Rocky, man, he was essentially doing nothing before he started this company, which I think is going to be $1 billion company. And I can't wait to help him get to that $1 billion valuation. It was good to see be able to sit down with Dory and talk about her product, because again, she has big plans for her product. So kind of shouts out to Dory. And again, look at, hey, thanks, cuz. Thanks, Kim. So Kim is my cousin, so I appreciate her giving me the shout out. Happy birthday, number one. And then number two, thanks for just participating in the chat. For those of you who are watching, hey, let's kind of participate in the chat for a number of reasons. Number one, it makes the show better, not only for me, but also for the other listeners. And then number two, again, my billable rate is almost $400. And I would imagine that you going through the week, you're probably not going to be able to kind of ask questions and get some type of legal information from a patent attorney who's charging almost $400 an hour, who's been in the game for 10 years, and kind of get that information for free. So let's definitely ask your questions, whether it's on trademarks, whether it's on patents, whether it's on copyrights, whether it's on trade secrets. Put that question in a chat, and I'll do my best to answer it. Because again, this is definitely free information that you can get for about an hour here. So definitely take advantage of that. So let's kind of move on here. And I do want to talk about this Shark Tank pitch, mail time. And again, this is another reason why I'm just so big on you guys protecting your intellectual property. So this example, this was on the Shark Tank episode that aired this week. I think it was on Friday it aired. And it was a number of good pitches. I think 3 of the 4 pitches end up getting a deal. And this gentleman was one of the guys who got a deal. So he was a history buff, and he actually did a deal, I think, with Daniel, the guest shark. But he has essentially let me pull up the website here really quickly. Because again, man, this is the type of stuff that I'm talking about when I talk about intellectual property. So here he is. Pull down the banner here. He essentially has a company that makes history replica. That again, he has a subscription-based business that has over 85,000 active subscribers, and he essentially sends them, for example, history. So if you are kind of big Constitution aficionado, he'll send you a replica of the U.S. Constitution. Again, he just kind of sends you different kind of replica of American history. And this guy, again, he already loves history. This guy's making, or I think last year in 2024, he made over $1.5 million or around $1.5 million in revenue, and he took home $400,000. Let me say that again for the people in the back. This guy started a company. I think the company is less than 5 years old. Last year, he made around $1.5 million in revenue with his company, History by Mail, which, by the way, he does have a trademark on the logo History by Mail. And again, he's just kind of mailing his different subscribers replicas of kind of what it is that they're into. If you're into the Constitution, he's going to mail you that. If you're into the Emancipation Proclamation, he's going to mail you that. If you're an immigrant, he's kind of find a way to mail you something that's kind of near and dear to you. And again, the important part of this is, number one, is he's protecting his intellectual property. But then number two, maybe more importantly, this guy is making, or as of last year, has made $400,000 in profit. He made around $1.5 million in revenue, but he took home $400,000 for his business. Again, what they say, the average person in the U.S. makes $50,000, $60,000 a year. And this guy is a history buff, which kudos to him, because we all know museums and libraries and things that kind of involve history is kind of antiquated or outdated. This guy started a business around that, is making $400,000 a year. So again, I'm not sure what else to tell you about kind of protecting your intellectual property and starting a business around your intellectual property. But kudos to, what is his name? I didn't check his name, but kudos to him for not only getting a deal, protecting his intellectual property, but also kind of jumping out there and starting his business. Let's kind of move on here. We're talking about the Proud Boys and a pastor that finally speaks out. We got to pull up this article from the Associated Press where they interviewed the pastor, and he was talking about the Proud Boys and how they essentially they're actually selling clothing of the Proud Boys logo. So let me kind of pull that up here. And is this the right one? I don't think that's the right one. Let me get to the right one here. Let's see if I can get to the right AP article. I didn't know I had multiple of them pulled. Oh, here we go. The Black Church. Here we go. Share. There we go. So we're going to play this this kind of newscast, and then I'm kind of let you guys my thoughts. Please feel free to share your thoughts in the comments or in the chat as well. Put your questions in there, and we'll talk about it.
In the midst of all the pain that I see, there is another way. Do I have a witness here today that there is another way?
We will be unrelenting in pursuing justice. And it is not just for Metropolitan.
In 2023, Metropolitan AME Church in D.C. won a multi-million-dollar lawsuit against the Proud Boys, a far-right group who vandalized their church property, including a Black Lives Matter sign, in 2020 during a pro-Trump rally.
The act of destroying these signs was not just alcohol-lubricated, infantile frat boy stuff. The larger part of it is this is political intimidation. This is a softer version of cross burning, designed to keep us quiet.
So again, for those of you who are just coming in, this is the pastor of, I'll just pause it here. I'm going to finish it here in a second. This is the pastor of the church where the Proud Boys, I guess the group, the right-wing group, vandalizes church maybe a couple of years ago. And it's going to get into it later on in this video, but they were awarded like a multi-million-dollar judgment from the courts. And as a result of the Proud Boys, the former group known as the Proud Boys, not being able or not paying that judgment, the court or the judge at the court awarded this pastor and his church the actual trademark for Proud Boys. Talking about irony. And as it will show here, they're actually, the pastor in the church is actually selling shirts of the Proud Boys. So now you go from getting your church vandalized by this group called the Proud Boys, which had a trademark, to actually getting a trademark and making money. Hey, this is only in America where something like this has happened. But again, justice appears to be served in this case. I'm not for vandalizing and destruction of property. And to the extent that you do that, you should be held accountable. And it seems like the group Proud Boys was held accountable. But let's get back to this AP article and see what else the pastor has to say. Let's go.
What they didn't realize is that we come from a tradition of people who have never accepted that. We have never accepted this violence. We came here fighting. We've stayed here fighting. We'll continue to fight.
When the Proud Boys didn't pay, the church sued again, this time for property, their trademark. And in 2025, a judge again ruled in their favor.
And so let's see what this say. Again, trademarks are intellectual property and are assets. So to the extent that you default on your judgment, which is what the group did, they start seizing your assets. And one of those assets was the actual trademark. It said, as set forth in this motion, Metropolitan AME respectfully requests that the court enter a default judgment against the Proud Boys, transferring all of interest in the trademark Proud Boys, formerly registered in the USPTO, to Metropolitan AME. And it seems like they were granted that motion.
The ruling for Metropolitan came at the same time that many of the Proud Boys and other January 6 rioters were pardoned by President Trump.
Initially, I was a little nervous about it. I just hope they don't touch the church. That was just my main concern. As overwhelming as this all has been, we have no choice. That's the legacy of our church. We are an AME church, and we're around the corner from the White House. I think if we didn't address anything, didn't do anything, and didn't fight, it's a waste of real estate.
During the height of this decision, we were paying over $20,000 a month for security.
Crazy.
And this was a part of the judge's judgment for us. The $2.8 million, part of it is to recoup the real financial damage that was done to the church.
But in the just 3 months since the ruling, Proud Boys leaders have made remarks online about the church and in particular their pastor, even boldly posting on X that they will change their name to the African Methodist Episcopal Boys. Legal representation for the group's former chairman, Enrique Tarrio, did not respond to a request for comment.
There are those in the Proud Boys world who are still using their trademark as if we have not won it. And I want everyone to know that it is our property legally, and we will protect our property.
So you see there that, hey, this is from the church's website. You see that they're selling shirts. PB is for Proud Boys. What they say, stay proud, stay black. Stay proud, stay black, and then Proud Boys. It seems like they have canceled on Proud Boys. So the church is making money off this trademark that was awarded to them, formerly owned by the right-wing group Proud Boys, based on vandalism and, again, $2.8 million judgment. That's crazy. Let's go.
The congregation has begun to sell lookalike shirts on its website with lines like "Stay proud, stay black," and will do the same for Pride Month and Juneteenth.
I don't know about that Black Lives Matter one, man. I don't think
it is our way of leveraging something that was intended for evil and political violence to celebrate the very human beings and the liberation of those human beings that the Proud Boys were designed to intimidate.
So, man, that's that. Hey, look it. If you guys kind of bring it on myself here, man, if you guys kind of engage in destruction of property, vandalism, and get a court judgment award against you, you're liable to have your intellectual property seized, which actually brings up another point that I do want to talk about. And again, this is a point that, again, in this case with the Proud Boys, I think justice was served, but you guys need to kind of strongly consider, to the extent that you have intellectual property, whether it's trademarks, patents, or copyrights, putting that stuff in a trust. Now, you may want to speak to your trust and estates or T&E attorney about this, but when you have your intellectual property in a business, for example, LLC or S Corp, the court can attach it, especially if it gets a judgment against it. But to the extent that you have your IP in a trust, it's a lot tougher for the court to be able to get it, even though you or your business may get a judgment against it. Because again, the trust owns the actual intellectual property, which a lot of times they can kind of penetrate that if you're doing everything you need to do, the courts can't penetrate that trust to kind of take the assets in that trust and give them to somebody else. So this is definitely a learning lesson. I think justice in this case was served with the Proud Boys given the vandalism they did to the church. But you guys definitely may want to look at putting your IP in a trust so that, to the extent that you get a judgment against you later down the line, the court cannot take your IP and give them over to the actual the company or the person that gets the judgment. Let's kind of keep moving on here. Talking about Donald Trump, we see here. Stop screen. Now, Donald Trump actually pardoned the Proud Boys owner, Enrique, or the group leader, Enrique. Again, we're not going to hash that out. I actually been talking about that for a while, so definitely go kind of check out prior videos that I did. But I do want to talk about actual Donald Trump. He was denied dismissal And I've been talking about this case as well. He's denied dismissal of Isaac Hayes, the copyright lawsuit. So again, back when Donald Trump was campaigning to be president of the United States, he was kind of on his campaign trails. He was coming out to a number of songs. One of those songs was "Hold On, I'm Coming," which again is a copyright by Isaac Hayes, the father, who's unfortunately no longer with us. But again, copyrights last for so long that went to essentially his heirs, which in this case is his son, Isaac Hayes III. And Isaac Hayes III essentially sued Donald Trump for copyright infringement. Now, again, obviously, you know, Donald Trump was running to be president, so kind of wasn't a lot of motion in the case. But then seems like Donald Trump and his attorneys filed a motion with the court, I think down in Atlanta, the federal court down in Atlanta, to dismiss the lawsuit of copyright infringement. And it seems like the court denied his motion, which again, apparently is kind of what we have here. I do want to bring up some, you know, some articles or the Twitter feed of Isaac Hayes III, because it seems like he's pretty happy about the ruling in this case. And he kind of went to Twitter to talk about it a little bit. So this is his Twitter page. Let's see here. Here we go here. This was April 4th. What's today? The 6th. So this was a couple days ago. Isaac Hayes, we're pleased. Okay, the rights of songwriters and their heirs must be upheld. So this is from the Atlanta, I guess, an article in Atlanta talking about Trump must face Isaac Hayes music copyright suit. Atlanta judge rule. So again, Atlanta, the judge in Atlanta dismissed. Essentially, Trump lost this case. It essentially said that Trump must go to court for copyright infringement against Isaac Hayes. You see, we are pleased with the judge's decision to deny Donald Trump, Turning Point, and Bitcoin's request to dismiss this case. I'm not sure what Bitcoin has anything to do with this, but this is a clear case of copyright infringement, and we stand with all the songwriters and artists who have the right to protect their music. Let's see what else this thing says. From unauthorized use. Again, this is the big thing. Isaac Hayes, they did not give Donald Trump authorization to use that "Hold On, I'm Coming," and he used it anyway. So they essentially sued him for trademark infringement. Let's kind of go up a little bit here. I think he talked about it again. Isaac Hayes, let's see here. Okay, so maybe it was down here further. Okay, so this seems like this is Isaac Hayes. This is the third. This is the son. So his pops made the famous song, which I'm pretty sure we all know, "Hold On, I'm Coming." And when a pops passed away, this is a good thing about copyrights. They last for the life of the author, which is the life of his pops, plus 70 years. So when his pops passed away, the copyright on the song is still good for 70 years. And again, Donald Trump infringed that song at these campaign rallies. And the song, Isaac Hayes III sued him for copyright infringement. This seems like this is the representation or the legal team. Shout out to the black attorneys down in Atlanta. So this is what he says on April 2nd. So this was actually my birthday when he posted this. Great morning in federal court. Grateful to the court for denying. So they denied the motion of Donald Trump for copyright infringement. Donald Trump for president and Turning Point USA in our copyright case. We move forward. So shout out to James Walker, Liz Garner Group, and Miss Gina Ryan. So again, there you go. Isaac Hayes III. And he has a nice size following, man. Look, almost 50,000 followers on Twitter, fan base. I actually met Isaac Hayes III at InvestFest last summer, man. Pretty cool guy. I actually have a video on my page talking about that. But there you go, man. To the extent, hey, we talking about this stuff. We talked about with trademarks and the Proud Boys losing their trademark that went to the black church. And to the extent that you are using this IP and don't have authorization, you're likely not only to get hit for IP infringement, but to the extent that you get a judgment against you, you may get your IP taken away from you. In this case, it seems like Donald Trump, I would imagine that Donald Trump and the team settles out of court. But again, we'll keep you guys abreast on that. It seems like in terms of the latest and greatest, Donald Trump has to go to court for copyright infringement. They denied his motion to dismiss the case, and kind of that's that. Let's move on here. Your boy Terrence Howard. Hey man, your boy Terrence Howard was on PBD, man. He had some crazy takes about I guess some inventions that he came up with. Let me kind of pull this up for you guys. When the last time, you guys have to let me know in the chat, when has the last time you seen Terrence Howard in an actual movie or a TV show for that matter? I haven't seen Terrence Howard in something since Empire, but I don't watch a whole lot of TV these days, so maybe he's in something. So this is your boy PBD. I actually like PBD. I watch him a lot. He's interviewing Terrence Howard, and one of the crazy things that Terrence Howard said was that Diddy tried to screw him. He said that towards the end of this interview. Go check out the interview on PBD Podcast. But that wasn't the only thing he said. Actually, Terrence Howard was talking to a physicist that works at NASA, the space company, and he actually kind of held his own more or less against that physicist, Dr. Yu. But let's kind of talk about IP and what Terrence Howard talked about as it relates to his intellectual property. Let's go. We're going to play two portions of this. This is the first one. Let me make sure. Okay, it's on normal speed. Let's go.
What was it?
Yes. The Stephen Greer
documentary about
the lost century.
Yeah, the Invention Secrecy Act of 1951. So let's go through that. Do you mind just taking a moment and share? You have a certain number of patents. I don't know what the number is, say 30 something patents.
No, it's right now we have over 90 something separate patents. We have 30 different trademarks and copyrights, but most of the stuff are hard.
And your boy Terrence Howard getting to it. 30 something trademarks, over 95 patent applications. Your boy Terrence Howard getting to it.
And the patents, are they all in the States? Or
all in the States. Well, I've got them worldwide. You started filing them here, but a lot of them are redundant patents in other countries.
What is this, Rob?
That's just how many, according to
94.
ChatGPT.
Okay,
So look, this is something that I do want to talk about because let's read this here really quickly. Terrence Howard has also been active as an inventor. According to 2025 analysis, he has filed 94 patent applications with 60 granted patents. Now, mind you, this is on ChatGPT, and I actually did a video. Go check out this long form video of just this segment. ChatGPT is saying Terrence Howard has 94 patent applications. 60 of those patent applications have been granted patents. But when I went to the USPTO website, and when I typed it in Google, they said that Terrence Howard doesn't have any patents. Well, they said he filed multiple patent applications, but none of those patents were granted. So I need you guys to let me know. Do you think that ChatGPT is more accurate than Google? Or do you think the federal government is trying to blacklist Terrence Howard and his patents? I will also say that, when they talked about the Invention Secrecy Act, when the United States Patent and Trademark Office, when you file a patent application with the USPTO, and they think that this has something to do with criticality of national defense or the economic of the U.S., they will make your invention secret such that it's not available to the general public. That's common. Hey, just think about it. If somebody tried to file for a patent application on a nuclear bomb and that was public so that our enemies or whatever can get a hold of that, that'd be very, very bad for the USPTO. So the USPTO makes those patents that deal with or concern national security or the economy, can disrupt the economy in the U.S., they make those not available to the general public. But ChatGPT says he has 94 patents. However, it appears that the USPTO and Google is saying, hey, he filed some applications, but he doesn't have any awarded patents, which seems to be kind of a contradiction from what ChatGPT is saying. I did want to point that out because that's interesting. It seems like somebody's trying to blackball your boy, but let's continue to see what Terrence Howard has to say about his patents.
So 94 patents with 60. Okay, perfect. So you got 94 patents. What new findings, what have you found where the average person?
Hey, I'm with you, Brandon. What Brandon says, what does Brandon say? Looks like something fishy is going on here. I agree with you. Either Terrence Howard is coming up with something that the government kind of doesn't want to get out, or he's lying. Which one do you guys think? Let me know in the chat. Do you think Terrence Howard is lying, or do you think that the government is trying to blackball or blacklist or try to kind of suppress Terrence Howard's patent applications from getting out? You have to let me know that in the chat. Let's go. Let's finish up what he has to say.
Can benefit from. And if you're sitting there, you said this is worth in the trillions of dollars, and you and I are speaking before, you're like, if another country gets their hands on this,
it's an end of America.
What have you found?
Well, we've been able to innovate. The first thing that everybody already knows about is the tangential flight with linchpin. We have provided tangential flight, the ability to fly around your own center of mass, and unlimited midair bonding. I mean, it's the end of cranes for the linchpin, because no matter how large the project is or how small it is, linchpins can modulate and cover over air, over land, over sea. You have flight vehicles that deal with, that are able to deal with the air or deal with space or deal with water. You have cars for the land, but you don't have anything that is ubiquitous to all of these mediums. And that's what linchpin is able to do. So when I say it's the end of cranes, so you have that. We've innovated flight. We've innovated geometry by having unlimited bonding. We've innovated lighting. We've innovated with our energy systems. And what I wanted to share with you, one of the biggest things that I talked about with the Howard comma, its ability to pull energy directly from the van der Waals or from the 0 point. We've already provided a means to do that, to where you don't have to pay for any energy anymore. The same thing when I talked about beryllium, utilizing beryllium, even though there was some idiot.
So we're going to skip on to the next one. He's talking about some pretty deep stuff. I do want to get off into one more portion of the interview that I thought was interesting, particularly as it relates to IP is at the 130 mark. So there we go. And again, I probably would agree with you. What does Brandon say? He doesn't think he's lying. I think that he has some points and he may be on to some stuff. Now it seems like, the Dr. Yu from NASA disagree with him at different points, but I do think he has some points on some of the stuff that he was talking about. But let's kind of get off into this last portion and I'll give you guys my thoughts. Let's go.
Peers. I don't have the degrees he has. And guess what he doesn't have? He doesn't have an understanding of how the universe works.
You don't think Eric Weinstein
he has no understanding of how the universe works because he has rejected the geometry that supports how the universe behaves. He didn't even.
So he's talking about Eric Weinstein. It seems like Aaron Weinstein is a big business guy. He kind of went to Harvard. He, appears to kind of be within the science community. And this guy to the right-hand side, this is Dr. Yu, who's been a physicist at NASA for 17 years, definitely well-respected. And you can tell as Terrence Howard and Dr. Yu was kind of going back and forth. Dr. Yu actually agreed with Terrence Howard on some things, which lets me know that, man, hey, Terrence Howard, he's definitely deep in his science sphere and kind of as an inventor and kind of doing a lot of cool things. But Eric Weinstein is what it seems like him and Terrence Howard has having a falling out. And this will happen a lot of times where, man, when you're within this community, because obviously Terrence Howard, he's an actor, right? So he's not kind of a well-established kind of scientist within that community. So he's trying to essentially disrupt some kind of common themes or theories along the community. And it seems like people are like, man, you crazy, get up out of here. And this essentially where we're picking up with Terrence Howard and what he's talking about. So let's kind of see what Terrence Howard has to say. Let's go.
Evaluate the geometry. He did not. And then when I asked him about, does an action times an action have a reaction concerning the 1 times 1, he obfuscate. I hate that word.
Obfuscate.
He ran away from it. He kept diverting. And guess what? We are not peers because he doesn't have it. He hasn't invented a new form of flight. He hasn't discovered unlimited midair bonding. He hasn't done any of the things that I've done. He doesn't have any of the patents that I have. Now, whether they want to monetize them or not doesn't change the fact that these things are real. And like I said, if I have to go to China and allow China to now build if I go to DJI, I bet you they won't hesitate a moment to use linchpin. And then the U.S. is unable to use them. And then what happens to it? If I give my energy system to another country, what happens to it? The same energy system that they're trying to squash here. What happens to this place if I do that? Which they're forcing me to do. Do you know that they took away my passport out of the blue? Just took away my passport.
Now that's crazy. Look it. I'm not a conspiracy theorist by any point of imagination, but this next part of the interview is crazy. And again, I don't doubt that the government, when they want to get after you, they'll get after you. But when they start taking passports and preventing or inhibiting your ability to travel for different reasons, I don't know. You guys have to let me know in the chat. Is that by coincidence, or do you think something more is going on that the government is trying to, again, suppress Terrence Howard and what it is that he's doing from an inventor standpoint? Let's go.
Where first they said my passport, that I had some child support things. And I was like, that's some BS. Took 4 months to argue that I had no passport issues with child support. Then there's like, oh, it's your taxes. It's you owe taxes. So we're going to take away your passport. Why? So I couldn't go to Dubai. Why? So I couldn't go and get this stuff financed. It's all the suppression. And I'm like, okay. So after I'm done here today, when I get home, I'm going to put online the equations necessary to have a thing called unlimited energy, to be able to pull energy directly from the flux, just to say fuck you to the world. I'm going to show them how to pull energy directly from the flux.
Your thoughts when you're listening to him?
Like the doctor, like I got to be careful what I say because I'm still employed by the federal government. But again, I'm with you, Brandon. That's crazy. And again, when you start, he literally said that the government gave him essentially took his passport for some child support issues. And I think he said something else. And they're like, hold on, man, I don't have any child support issues. Man, get my passport back. But again, according to Terrence Howard, they were doing this to prevent him from going to China or from going to Dubai to actually get money to help kind of research this thing, fund what it is that he's trying to do. Now, like I said, either the government is trying to stop Howard from doing something, or Terrence Howard is batshit crazy. You guys have to let me know in the chat. I think it's maybe somewhere in the middle if I had to guess, but yeah, I agree with you, Brandon. That's crazy. And I thought that was a very entertaining interview. So definitely you guys have to go check that one out when you get a chance. Let's kind of move on here to the last segment of the actual show. It's been a pretty good show, man. It's a pretty good show so far. The last segment of the show, which is CrossFit. This is kind of, we're talking about the actual, essentially we're talking about the lawsuit of the week. And this is an interesting one because typically I'll break down one lawsuit. And this time I'm going to break down two lawsuits. They're short lawsuits, but they're both were filed by CrossFit against two separate gyms. For those of you who know CrossFit, I think it became popular. I was reading in 2000 when they filed a trademark. So they obviously, they're filing they filed suit for trademark infringement. So they filed a trademark on CrossFit back in 2000. They actually have a number of trademarks now. And this thing, I think they said they had over 340,000 kind of members as part of their community. Looking at their IG page, they had over 1 million followers on IG. So this is kind of a big deal. And it seems like they sued two gyms for trademark infringement. One of the gyms has kind of been trying to use CrossFit and they weren't authorized to do. Again, we were talking about that whole word authorization. But the other gym, it seems like they did get a license from that gym got a license from CrossFit to use the trademark CrossFit. But it seems like at some point that kind of license agreement terminated and the gym continued to use the term CrossFit to promote its different services. Although, again, it no longer had authorization and CrossFit slapped them with a trademark infringement lawsuit. So that's kind of where we're picking up on this one. And so this is the first one. We're going to go through it really quickly. It's only 16 pages, so it shouldn't take us too long. CrossFit is the plaintiff. Seems like they're suing sales in its individual capacity. And then Sarah's Martial Arts Center, which I think is owned by Sales. So let's go here. Plaintiff CrossFit forced complaint against defendant Sales in the Martial Arts Center respectfully alleged as follows. So this is the nature of the action. This is an action for willful violation of CrossFit's IP rights, including trademark infringement, among others, despite numerous written communications. So it seems like, CrossFit tried to send the defendants multiple cease and desist letters, and they gave them the middle finger from CrossFit demanding that defendants cease their infringement for the CrossFit mark. Defendants continue to use the mark without authorization. Defendants' conduct has caused irreparable harm to CrossFit and will continue that irreparable harm if this injunction is not essentially awarded immediately. We're not going to go off the jurisdiction of venue. Let's go to the factual allegations. Developed in the early 1980s, CrossFit is a famous fitness training and lifestyle brand that is applied to goods and services intended to help individuals improve their physical well-being and cardiovascular fitness in an encouraging environment. You guys have to let me know in the chat if you guys have taken fitness CrossFit. I have a couple of times, man. That is no joke for sure. The training style that CrossFit incorporates into CrossFit branded fitness training constantly varied functional movements performed at relatively high intensity. Okay. CrossFit sells products and offers numerous additional services under the CrossFit brand. It also owns and operates the CrossFit Games. So again, it has a number of trademarks. I think it said CrossFit, and it's just kind of regularly CrossFit, but then it also has CrossFit Games, the world's largest participatory fitness competition. Look at over 340,000 athletes participated in this thing in 2024. That's crazy. Over the last 3 decades, CrossFit has worked diligently and invested substantial resources in promoting CrossFit branded goods and services, including the credential. Okay, so it seems like it's, you can be certified in CrossFit training. That's pretty sweet. CrossFit works hard. CrossFit hard work has paid off. CrossFit estimates that millions of people around the world engage in CrossFit brand training, in most cases in the CrossFit branded facility. The CrossFit athletes train at over 12,000 licensed gyms located in more than 150 countries. CrossFit getting to it. CrossFit Games apparently is also broadcast on ESPN. So then it's talking about their intellectual property. CrossFit name is widely recognized throughout the U.S. and around the world. I probably agree with that. Seems like they have some CrossFit exclusive ownership to CrossFit mark and fitness classes and memorialized in U.S. registration. Okay. The use of the CrossFit marked by the licensed gyms. CrossFit offers a nationally standardized certificate program to personal trainers who desire to teach CrossFit classes on or own and operate a CrossFit licensed facility. Individuals who successfully complete CrossFit certificate program and meet other requirements for affiliation are eligible to enter into an annual renewable, and you get a license, which essentially means we are going to allow you to use CrossFit in our program, and you're going to give us some money. Let's go to the defendants here. Defendant Sales is the owner, like I said before, of the martial arts company. Upon information or belief, the fitness services offered by Sales are similar to the fitness services offered by under the CrossFit mark. So it seems like they're engaged in Sales is, has training programs that are similar to CrossFit training programs. Defendants target the same consumers. I would agree with that. And it says CrossFit does not endorse or approve of the services offered by defendant. Let's kind of get off into the allegations here. CrossFit contacted defendants in connection with its failure to cease ongoing unauthorized use of the CrossFit mark. CrossFit identifies specific uses of the CrossFit mark by defendant that must stop. So it seems like, what is it? URL addresses for specific. Okay, defendants did not respond. On August 29th of last year, CrossFit contacted Sales advising that their failure to comply with the demand to cease and desist from unauthorized use will essentially lead to legal actions. Defendant again did not respond. Look, this is the worst thing you can do, is not respond to a cease and desist letter. As an attorney, I'm going to tell you nothing good is going to come from it. Just get an attorney and fight it out or stop using it. But to think that it's somehow going to go away if a company is sending you a cease and desist letter, that's just, and in my opinion, is one of the worst things you can do. Let's go. In October of last year, so late last year, as well as January of this year, outside counsel for CrossFit sent defendants additional letters demanding defendants. So it seems like they sent more cease and desist letters. So this appears to be the homepage of the defendants. There you go. That CrossFit mark, CrossFit Martial Arts. Seems like they're offering it Monday, Tuesday, Thursdays, and Fridays between 7:15 and 8 p.m. Man, yeah, that's not good. If CrossFit, like I said, that's the whole point of this actual lawsuit. CrossFit is a registered mark, and the fact that you're using it as a branding, you're never going to get away with that. Defendants using the CrossFit mark on social media platforms, including Facebook. So it seems like they're also using it on Facebook, CrossFit martial arts programs. Since at least of August of 2024, defendants have been fully aware of CrossFit prior use. Okay, yeah, whatever. So that's that. So CrossFit is the exclusive owner of the CrossFit mark. We went through it. Is using it in commerce. They saying it's likely to cause confusion, which is the standard of trademark infringement, is the likelihood of confusion, and some other things that they're alleging. So that's the first one. We're going to kind of pull up the second here, but what do you guys think? I would love to hear you guys' thoughts as I'm pulling up this second lawsuit in the actual, put your comments in the chat. But also, man, let me know if you got a question. Like I said before, this is probably one of the only times you're going to be able to do this week where you're able to talk to an intellectual property attorney to ask questions, get legal information. My billable rate is almost $400. So you're probably not going to talk to an almost $400 an hour attorney for free. Probably not at this point in time, or not over the course of the next week or so. And again, I've been at this thing for 10 years, so I've been at it for a decent amount. But let's kind of pull up the second lawsuit and kind of go through this one really quickly. We're going to be able to go through this one quick because we're not going to read some of the beginnings since we already know who CrossFit is. So this is CrossFit LLC. This is in Florida. It seems like man, it's suing a lot of people here. We already know who CrossFit is, so we're not going to read the parties. Again, this essentially is the same thing. We're not going to read the intellectual property, but we are going to pick it up at the defendants. Upon information of belief, defendant Sains is the owner of this RX Fit Holdings. Upon information of belief, Sains and RX Fitness Holdings operate a facility essentially in Miami, Florida. The fitness services offered by the defendants are similar to the fitness services offered by CrossFit. The fitness target the same consumers. Okay, on or around February, so early of last year, Saints entered into an affiliate agreement with CrossFit. So it seemed like they were doing business with each other. Under the agreement, CrossFit licensed to Saints the right to use the CrossFit mark in the name of the Saints fitness facility. Tamani CrossFit during the term of the agreement. So again, Tamani, or the defendants in this case, had authorizations via a license agreement to use Top Miami CrossFit. CrossFit also granted a limited license to Saints to use other CrossFit-related marks such as Forging Elite Fitness. Again, it seems like CrossFit has a number of trademarks, one of which is Forging Elite Fitness in connection with advertising, marketing, selling, and rendering CrossFit-approved services at the facility. In exchange for these valuable rights, essentially Saints had to give us some money, which is one of the benefits of having intellectual property and licensing it. Okay, here we go. This seems like where things went sour. Defendant's willful infringement. Because Saints' affiliate agreement terminated, defendants are no longer authorized to use the CrossFit mark. CrossFit does not endorse or approve of the services offered by the defendant. Nevertheless, the defendants intentionally and without permission continue to use the CrossFit mark to offer and promote their fitness services. Moreover, at all relevant times, the defendants have been fully aware of CrossFit prior use, ownership, registration of the mark. On June 6th, so, mid-year last year, and again and again. So it seems like this was a few times after Saints was no longer a licensed CrossFit affiliate. CrossFit, hey, look it, man, let's work this out. It seems like CrossFit has contacted the defendant Saints to try to work it out in connection with their failure to cease ongoing unauthorized use of the CrossFit mark. CrossFit identifies specific uses of the CrossFit mark by defendant that must stop. On October, so later of last year, outside counsel of CrossFit sent defendant a final letter demanding. So again, it seems like they sent another cease and desist letter to the defendant. So this was on October 14th. So 11 days later, defendant responded through counsel. So at least these people responded. What did they say? Representing that Mr. Saint has removed the mark. Okay, so again, they did the right thing. They removed the mark. At least they said that they removed the mark from all signage, all class schedules, the website, social media pages, Google listing, and rebranded the facility to Top Miami Fitness. And that Ms. Saints believes that all references to the mark, including but not limited to signage schedules, website, social media pages, Google listings, have been successfully removed. Defendant included the following photos in their response in support of the above representation. So, okay, Top Miami, it seems like they've been removing some of the stuff. Top Miami Fitness, this is the website. Seems like this is at the facility. Following receipt of the defendant's October 25th, 2024 response, CrossFit continued to monitor the defendant's website. I already know what's going on here. Despite several demands on February 25th. Hold on. Website showing me other platforms to verify defendants continue. Okay, here we go. CrossFitness routine reviewed identified that defendants are continuing to display. So the old okie doke. I guess they didn't think that they're going to follow up after that. After they responded to the cease and desist letter. Specifically, the 3 photographs appearing on the defendant's website were replaced with a video featuring the CrossFit mark in connection with a wall mural inside Top Miami's Fitness. I'm not seeing anything. Defendant's unauthorized use of the CrossFit mark. Where are you seeing CrossFit? Home services, about us, scheduled membership drop. And I see the Top Miami. Maybe it's here. Oh, I see it. So they have Top Miami CrossFit above it. So that's what they got hammed on. Okay, defendant's unauthorized use of the CrossFit mark for fitness services deceptively mislead. Man, all you have to do is paint over this. They could have got rid of this easily. In addition, defendant's use of the CrossFit mark creates the false impression that CrossFit endorses or otherwise approves the services provided by the defendant. So essentially, the defendant's unlawful use of the CrossFit mark for fitness services has and is likely to continue to cause a confusion to the source and they essentially want them to stop using it. So again, this is the trademark infringement. We're not going to go through that. But what do you guys think? It seems like these are two separate lawsuits from the one company. It seems like the first lawsuit, they just used CrossFit for a number of things, Facebook on a website without authorized use. And then the second one, they actually had authorized use, but the agreement terminated. And it seems like at least they responded that the first couple cease and desist letters were sent saying that they stopped using it. And for the most part, it seems like they did, but they just had one wall in a building that had CrossFit on it, which that should have been an easy fix. And this is the thing that I'm talking about. You're operating a business, and we understand that, it can be tough operating a business sometimes as it relates to profit, revenues, and things like that. And as opposed to just having that CrossFit painted over in black, you do nothing. And as a result of that, now you have to fight a lawsuit in court. Now, maybe you at least got to respond to it, which is going to cost you money. I would imagine it's going to cost you less money to just paint over the sign. So this is what I'm talking about from a business standpoint, as defendants of people who's kind of maybe in good faith or in bad faith using other people's intellectual property, whether it's trademarks, patents, copyrights. You guys have to think about this from a long-term standpoint. Number one, as in the first case, do not just blow off a cease and desist letter, because that's never going to go good for you. But in the second case, you could have just painted over the sign, because I'm sure once they identified that video with CrossFit, that CrossFit sign in the back, they sent you another cease and desist letter. They just didn't file a trademark lawsuit against you. Maybe they did, but I would imagine that they sent you another cease and desist letter saying, hey, you got this CrossFit in this video. Can you please remove it? And you probably either didn't respond and say, we're not removing it. And as a result of it, they are suing you for trademark infringement. Now you got to respond to the lawsuit, which is going to take money. And when you could have just paid less money to just paint over the sign. I don't get it. You guys have to let me know in the chat. Am I missing something? This is stuff that we're talking about as a business owner. I understand some cases are not as black and white as this, but this seems like a pretty black and white case in my opinion. And it's going to cost them money, time and energy, which you can be pouring that into the business to try to grow the fitness club, especially since it seems like you're a startup company. So those are just kind of my thoughts on this one. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this one. Like I said, we talked about a lot today, from the interview of the week, Shark Tank pitch of the week. We talked about the Proud Boys, talked about your boy kind of Donald Trump. We talked about Terrence Howard kind of going crazy on PBD. Go check out that interview, or check out the other videos I did on my channel. And then kind of talking about CrossFit actually suing not just one gym, but two gyms for trademark infringement. It seems like they have a number of trademarks for CrossFit in that kind of fitness gyms. I actually have one guy just kind of hit me up trying to get some trademark work done in the gym. This is a good time for me, man. I think these videos, being on YouTube, kind of having that social media presence, is definitely having people hit me up left and right for patents, for trademarks. I had somebody else hit me up today in IG talking about they saw my videos on YouTube and they want to touch base with me about some patent stuff. So again, reach out if you're trying to protect your IP. I can't guarantee you that I'm gonna be the one that can help you out with it, but we can at least have a call. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this one. Please hit the like button for the YouTube algorithm, as well as hit the subscribe button if you're not already. We have a lot of cool things coming out. I actually have 2 books coming out: an ebook, Got IP, the practical guide for protecting and monetizing your IP in America. It's an ebook. I think that's going to be very helpful. And it's going to be a couple dollars, so that's going to be a lot more affordable. Then I'm also coming out with a children's book, a series of children's books. This first one is going to be pretty amazing. I can't wait to give that to you guys over the next couple months as well. So be on the lookout for that. Like I said, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. I can't wait to see you guys next week. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this one. Hey, stay creating, stay innovating, and make sure you protect that intellectual property.